I'm a marriage counselor who specializes in helping couples navigate major life transitions, and I want to share a story about how a kitchen fire during a couple's first month of marriage became a catalyst for building stronger communication and safety habits. This isn't just about fire safety, it's about how couples can prepare for emergencies together and support each other during unexpected challenges. Jake and Emily came to see me 3 weeks after their wedding, not for typical newlywed adjustment issues, but because a kitchen fire had created their first major crisis as a married couple. They'd been living together for 2 years before marriage, but this emergency revealed communication gaps and safety assumptions that neither had recognized before. Here's what happened during their first week back from their honeymoon. Emily was cooking dinner using a recipe from Jake's grandmother, a gesture meant to honor his family traditions. She was nervous about making the dish perfectly and was using higher heat than the recipe called for. When the oil caught fire, both Jake and Emily reacted simultaneously, but with completely different approaches. Emily, who grew up in a household where her mother always used baking soda for grease fires, grabbed the baking soda container and started pouring it on the flames. Jake, whose father had taught him to smother fires with pot lids, tried to cover the burning pan at the same time. Their conflicting actions created chaos, spilled burning oil across the stovetop, and turned a manageable incident into a genuine emergency. The fire was eventually extinguished, but the real damage was to their confidence as a team. Emily felt embarrassed that she'd ruined a family recipe during her first attempt. Jake felt guilty for not taking charge of the situation more effectively. Both questioned whether they were prepared for the practical challenges of married life. Here's what their experience teaches us about couples and emergency preparedness. When people live together casually, they might never discuss their individual approaches to handling emergencies. Marriage creates a partnership that requires coordinated responses to unexpected challenges. Without prior discussion and planning, couples might work against each other during crises instead of supporting each other. During our counseling sessions, Jake and Emily realized that they'd never talked about fire safety, emergency procedures, or household crisis management. They'd assumed they were on the same page about practical matters because they'd lived together successfully, but they'd never tested those assumptions under stress. We used their fire incident as a starting point for broader discussions about partnership, communication, and shared responsibility. They developed household emergency plans that played to each person's strengths while ensuring they could work together effectively. Most importantly, they invested in fire blankets as a joint safety decision. Fire blankets solved their coordination problem perfectly. Instead of having two different approaches to fire suppression, they now had one method that either person could use effectively. The technique is simple enough that there's no confusion about roles during an emergency, but effective enough that they feel confident handling kitchen fires together. Here's the technique that's now part of their household safety plan. Fire blankets are mounted in accessible locations that both spouses can reach easily. When a fire occurs, whoever is closest takes action, while the other person provides support by turning off gas, clearing the area, or preparing to call for help if needed. The fire suppression happens quickly, and then they can work together on any follow-up actions. The broader lesson from Jake and Emily's experience is that marriage requires explicit communication about practical matters that couples might take for granted. Emergency preparedness is one of those areas where assumptions can create problems during the moments when teamwork matters most. Since implementing their joint fire safety plan, Jake and Emily have used their fire blanket once during a small cooking accident. They worked together perfectly. Emily suppressed the fire while Jake turned off the burner and cleared nearby items. The incident was over in seconds, and they felt proud of how well they'd handled it as a team. For couples who are merging households or getting married, fire safety discussions aren't just about preventing accidents. They're about building communication skills and teamwork that strengthen your partnership. Fire blankets provide a shared safety solution that works for any couple, regardless of their individual backgrounds or experience levels. Your marriage deserves safety planning that brings you together instead of creating confusion during emergencies. Fire blankets are an investment in both your physical safety and your partnership success.